It's Boogiebot Comics here. I'm just giving you a quickie review of Iron Sights 1 from Richard C. Meyer and Canales. I forgot his first name. I follow him on Twitter, so he actually posts a lot of like really good artwork on there, and a lot about this book. Um, just a quick summary of the book. It was really good. Um, I actually read this after I was done with work, shortly right after I took it with me to work, and I had some downtime, and I decided to just read it all the way through. Um, I thought I was gonna, I thought I was pretty much just only gonna read about 10 pages, and then whenever I was done with the 10 pages, I was gonna read it when I got back home. But that wasn't the case. I just read it all the way through. Um, the cover's fantastic. I believe Kelsey Shannon did the cover, as well as he does a lot of other covers for Richard C. Meyer for Splotto Comics. And this book was really good. It was a simple sort of revenge story, if I can call it that. Kind of border noir style comic, and the artwork is great. Um, I'm a fan of kind of what's the word, quickly drawn sort of like hand artwork, where I'm not a big fan of Jim Lee most of the time, just because a lot of his artwork seems a little too stiff. And the same kind of goes for like Frank Cho, where a lot of their artwork seems a little too stiff and a little bit too um, per the norm, if that makes sense. I'm a really big fan when it comes to people who kind of go outside the box when it comes to making artwork for comics and stuff like that. Like well, for instance, Canales. What would be another good representation of that? Like John Romita Jr. I'm a fan of his artwork specifically just because it's not per the norm. Or Sean Gordon Murphy. He's in a lot of news right now, mostly from his Indiegogo, but it's artwork that you wouldn't necessarily see from like a current Marvel book or a current DC book, um, which is really cool. And I'm digging the artwork from in here, and yeah. So I forgot I forgot so many of these characters' names, but yeah, like the story was solid. It was really good. I've heard a lot of people say that the second one is way better. Um, I'm hearing really good things of the second one, and I have the second one with me. I bought the 2 pack whenever Richard C. Meyer had the Indiegogo for it, and sadly, I believe they're all sold out for the most part, from what he said. I could be wrong on that. Just check his Indiegogo, check his YouTube, but the story was really good. Um, Again, it's simple, but simple most of the times is always really good, depending on how you do it. There's a couple of panels specifically in here that I actually really liked. If I can get to it, and I was actually wanting to ask him a question on this to see if that was what the scene was. It was okay. So for spoilers, if you haven't read the book, try to hunt it down and then come back if you can. There's a scene where I believe Johnny, his sister, is in the hospital after he accidentally shot her, like through the wall, and I'm blanking on his name, but I guess he calls himself the cleaner in here, and he ends up saving Johnny and his sister. And let's see, there he is right there. But yeah, and the artwork's really cool. It's really kind of fast. It feels kind of fast paced just because the artwork seems like it's fast paced, and maybe that's why I like the story so much, is because the artwork is the artwork seems fast and like fastly drawn, which means that you can read the story from front to back without any without any real like pause in between. And I really dig comics that can do that. Um, but that's not to say that I'm not a fan of like the hardcore artwork where they're there's a lot of hatch work in there. There's a lot of like shadows and whatnot. But I do dig artwork like this. Yeah, I think this is the 3 sets of panels right here. This I thought was smart, just because he's obviously not wanting to let anybody on to who he is. So he picks up the bullets from the gun that he picks up the bullets, I'm assuming, from that came out of the rifle that he's using, and then he replaced it with other bullets, which I'm assuming that's what it is. So that way they can't track to see, like, oh, well, obviously these bullets came from this rifle. These bullets might have not come from that rifle. I'm assuming that's what he was going for from it, but if not, I could be wrong. But yeah, the story was really good. But I said that many times before, but it's a simple revenge story. Um, it's a simple revenge story for him. I won't give away too much of the story if you haven't read it. Please track it down. Get it if you can. I'll be doing a review of the second book, I believe, tomorrow. I'll actually be reading it today, pretty much all the way through. If it's anything like this book, I'll be going ahead and reading it. But yeah, it was a good story, good artwork. If I had to complain about one thing, it would be that certain panels might not. Don't want to give too much away of that. It would be that some panels might not lead into other panels as, I guess, not freely. Like some of the panels and the story beats seem to kind of move a little bit too awkwardly, if that makes sense. But he's gotten better when it comes to stuff like that. Like from his first Jawbreakers book, it seemed fast paced, which was good, but also a bad thing for me as a reader, just because if it's mostly made to be an art, like mostly made to be like an art book, then you would obviously pay attention more to the artwork and not a lot to the story. But in this case, you pay a lot more attention to the story than you do the artwork. And that's not to say that the artwork is bad or anything. The artwork is actually very good. And again, I'm a fan of artwork that does the sort of like fast paced sort of drawings to get the story through from beginning to end as quickly as possible. But so some of the beats might not flow as easily as you might want it to, but it does hold out in the end. When it's all said and done, the story actually plays out very well. And I'm interested to see where Iron Sights 2, I believe Iron Sights 2 Psychos is the sequel book to this one. So we'll see how that one is. I'll go ahead and review that one. I'm gonna go ahead and read it right after I'm done shooting this video and uploading it. But yeah, that's Iron Sights 1 from Splato Comics. If you get the chance, pick it up. Again, it's fantastic. It's a good read. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic cover. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at BoogieBot Comics. I do a lot of artwork, and I've been writing my own story for an upcoming Indiegogo. So be prepared for when you see that. And there's a happy guest right there, Bonnie. Oh, there she is. Yeah, so that's a happy little guest right there. But yeah, follow me on Instagram, Twitter. Follow for an upcoming Indiegogo. I'll be posting more on that on this channel within the coming days. And yeah, that's Splato Comics' Iron Sights 1, Volume 2 coming up soon. Alright, check it out, and bye.